Welcome, everybody, to a very special episode of Board Game Coffee. While the internet is abuzz with news of terraforming Mars, the Ares expedition, not much can be said, so we decided to go another way, because there's another terraforming Mars game that we can talk about. And here to tell us all about Terraforming Mars, the dice game, is Jonathan. But Jonathan, before you tell us anything about the game, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Jonathan Fryxelius, and I'm brother of Jacob, but we work in the same company and we work together as game designers. The company consists of five brothers, so we're five brothers working together in FryxGames, and each of one of us are, we're designing games, and when one of us come up with a game, then all the others just swarm like flies, and we work together to make the game better until we can release it. That was the case with Terraforming Mars, which Jacob came up with in 2011, and then we worked together on it for 5 years until we released it in 2016. So I'm Jonathan, and I'm, apart from just making games, I'm also handling the customer service and the web shop for FryxGames. So you see in the background a lot of boxes and everything that I need to send all the orders from the web shop. That's my role in the company.
All right. Well, I am so excited to have you here, Jonathan, because I'm a huge, anybody who watches Board Game Coffee, they know I'm a huge Terraforming Mars fan. It was actually, okay, spoilers, on my top 50, we put out 5 episodes that covered my top 50. Terraforming Mars was my number 1. And I believe, I don't have the picture queued up right now, but I'll do an overlay. We actually, for my wedding, me and Brittany, who is the other half of Board Game Coffee, we actually brought it to our wedding in the Dominican, and we used it in our wedding photo shoot. I think I sent that to you.
Yeah.
We're huge fans. Huge fans. Okay.
That's nice. That's really nice.
Okay, so here's the big questions. We're gonna get right down to it. First of all, tell us about Terraforming Mars, the dice game.
Yeah. So we have an aim to make a game of Terraforming Mars that is shorter, simpler, and takes less table space. That was the request. Actually, the dice game was not originally something that we came up with and wanted to do. This was actually a request from Stronghold Games, from Stephen Bonacore, that he just spat it out. Why don't you make a dice game version? And we thought about it, and we started ball spitting, brainstorming about what could this be. And the dice game has actually seen several variants before, since its conception. I made the first version, then Daniel, my brother, made another version, which is the one we stuck with and continued to develop until what it is that it is today. So the dice game is the theme is of course the same. You're still terraforming Mars, you're still a corporation, and you're still going to do this, but you're going to do it with dice instead of with the resource cubes mainly. The cards are still there, so it's still cards, and actually the board is still there, but it's much smaller. But mainly you switch out all the resources for resource dice instead of resource cubes.
So throughout the game, we're using those dice, right? So does that mean our dice pool is getting limited? Like we're taking away from our overall dice pool?
Yes, in one way, but usually you're not going to hit the limit very often because there's enough dice to play. But the dice is actually representing your production. So every time you do a production, you have a certain number of dice and you roll them, and each die, I actually have them here so I can show you. So yeah,
let's get a close up on you.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so here's this is bad lighting. This is a mega credit die, so you can see the mega credit symbol.
Yeah, we can see it.
And on the other side you can see more mega credit symbols, and then you can see the science. Oh, this is a science symbol, yeah. And then on another side, let's see here, you have the.
Oh, we almost got it.
It's very hard to focus.
It
yeah, it's the Earth symbol.
Okay, I
Oh, this
could
is
kind of
really
make it out.
bad. Yeah, okay, so this Earth symbol. So each of these dice, there are 5 different colors of dice, and they represent basically the different resource kinds. So you have the bio die, and the bio die has all the the plants, the animals, and the microbes on different sides.
Hmm.
And then you have the mega credit die you see the before, and then you have the blue die, which is both water, it's also oxygen and energy. So you have those three on the same die. And then you have the heat die, which is both the event tag, as you can see, the event
Hmm.
arrow down. You have the nuclear zone, and you also have the usual temperature side, which Celsius, C Celsius.
Yeah. Okay, so does
Um,
that mean? Oh,
and
sorry. Go
then
ahead.
of course the titanium die with titanium and steel, and also the city symbol.
So so at the end, usually in Terraforming Mars, at the end we have our resource, I guess, gathering, right? That's I'm trying to. It's been like I'm a huge Terraforming Mars fan, but it's been a while since I played. At the end, there's the point where you, I guess, you collect your resources, right, based on what you did, and energy is transferred to heat. So in this case, are you
Yeah, that's
collecting?
the end of each generation. That's
Yeah,
when you get new resources. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So in this
and
case, our
in this
resources are
game,
dice that we're getting.
yeah, yes, yeah.
So we're how?
Um,
Sorry, go ahead.
so basically, you have the corporation cards, and the corporations are the same as in the base game. So this is an example. Let's see if you can see it here. Credicore, and in Credicore, this corporation, it gives you 3 yellow dice and 2 dice of any color you like every generation. So you basically roll 3 yellow dice, and then you choose 2 dice of any color and roll them.
Oh, nice.
And different corporations, of course, have different colors. So Thorgate is mainly blue, and there's also some crossovers for UNMI, for example. They have both red and green, and then 2 of any color. So you have different kinds of dice, but a lot of the game is about changing the side of the dice until they fit what you want them to
Hmm.
do. And so this game is actually still card oriented because there's still a lot of project cards which you use you want to play them, and to be able to play them you need to pay the cost, and the cost is up in the corner. And instead of having a mega credit cost as is the base game, now you actually have to exactly match the cost with the dice that you have. So in this case, maybe I can take it out of the plastic sleeve so you can see a little bit better. I hope so. In this case, you're going to need a heat die, ocean die, and a plant die to
Hmm.
play the mangrove. So a lot of the game is about, you have your resources of different colors, but you still need to switch sides on them so you get the correct symbol on that die,
Hmm.
to be able to play these cards.
So do you don't get to you have to, I'm assuming, being dice, do you, is it one of those games where you roll the dice to try to get those symbols, or do you actually position the die how you want them and then save them up?
So when you produce, you roll the dice, and then
Okay.
after that, you can whatever dice you didn't get that you really needed, you can spend actions turning dice
Mm.
to other sides. Um, One thing that is very important here is that we remove the concept of a generation, actually. So when you get out, when you are out of dice, you can just produce. The other
Oh, okay.
people, maybe they have a few more turns until they use their dice, but you can just, you produce, get more dice, and you can just continue as normal. So if you don't roll what you need, you can do another production to get even more dice,
Mhm.
or you can do other stuff. So um, this game is basically trying to make a really fast-paced version. So each turn is very fast. The game itself is very fast. It's also much simpler. There's almost no text on the cards because they're so easy to understand by the iconography, and that makes it also easier for younger players to join in. But it's still a very thinky game.
Mhm.
There's a lot of strategy to make the dice do what you want them to do until you have to produce again.
So other than using So the dice are replacing your resources, and you're using the dice as resources. Is there any other big mechanical differences from the original game, other than
Um,
the using dice as resources? Like, are we still using? You have those cards that can collect animals, etc. Do we still have those, and are we using dice on those cards to collect those, or are those cards gone?
no, those cards are gone.
Oh, okay.
So uh, yeah, you're still collecting them, but you're collecting them to pay the cost for something, for
Okay.
example. So
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
have the birds card. So in the birds card, you need to collect animal animal symbols on the green dice. So when you have a certain number of animal dice, then you can exchange them for points. So which is almost the same as what you do in the base game, but we're not actually putting them on the cards. It's rather an effect that you can utilize with the dice. So what's different? Well, most things are different, but they're still similar. So, for example, there's no ownership over tiles. You don't own the tiles. When you place a tile, you get the bonuses from it instantly, and then you don't own it anymore for the rest of the game. So this means that when you place a city tile, you immediately gain the victory points for the adjacent greeneries. You don't get that at the end of the game, so
Hmm.
you get it instantly. And in the same way, you actually get points when placing greeneries next to cities, which you don't get in the base game, but you do it here. And this is because you don't have the ownership left. I'm trying to get the game board out so I can show you. So this is the game board.
Hmm.
Um,
A lot smaller.
yeah, it's a lot smaller. And as you can see, the placement bonuses are usually that you can take a die of some sort and roll it, or you can get cards, or you see this symbol. Let's see if I can navigate with my finger mirrored. This symbol means that you can rearrange one die to any side you like, for example.
Hmm.
And this is a point. No, no, no. This is a point. I have a mirrored screen, so I'm not navigating. Okay, so this is a point, and then you can draw cards over here and stuff like that.
I like it.
So, and then you have the standard projects here, for example. This is everything that you can do uh, during your turn. So each turn is that you do one support action and one main action. The support action is one of these. So you can either get a new die of any color you like, or you can throw away one die to change the side of another die to any side you like,
Mhm.
or you can throw away any die to draw a card, or you can throw away a card to get any die on any side that you like.
I
So you
like
do one of these each turn.
I like how much there's going on that board. I know it's a smaller board, so there's less tile spaces on the surface, but it just looks like just loaded with all kinds of goodies.
Yeah, it is. It's actually like picking candy
Because
uh,
that was one of, like,
from
I
the
loved in
store.
Terraforming Mars when I got to put a tile down and got a bonus, but because this is so, I guess it's a smaller, more condensed version. It gets me all like excited. It's like there's so many more prizes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
are these the final costs you're looking at so far for like raising the temperature, or are you still testing those?
We're of course still testing, but they're finalizing pretty neatly. I mean, with more testing, I have a hard time thinking that we're going to change these. At least these costs, I think they will be the same in the end. Uh, yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah. Because when I was looking, digging, trying to find as much information as I could, I found two different boards. I think I found one where
yeah,
it was like a printout, and I think it said to raise the heat it cost two,
yeah.
and then I saw another one that said to raise the heat cost three. So I was just wondering which, if it cost too little or too or too much at the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, it costs too little from the beginning, but we had another. Well, before this version, we did have the generation concept. So you had your dice, and then you had to wait until everybody removed their dice until you can produce more
Hmm.
dice. Now we don't have that anymore. So it's easier for you to get the dice you need, which means that we can increase the costs a bit because there's not not the same problem. Um, and also we changed to, instead of having one action per turn, you have this special where you have one support action and then you have one main action each turn, uh, instead of having one action each turn, and that also changed some of the balance in the game.
Mm. The watching you
Uh,
hold that thing, it looks so small and delicate. I'm just so used to seeing the big board. it's
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
nice, it's a small little footprint. Seems like it's more of a traveling version of Terraforming Mars,
yeah.
which
And as
I
I said,
like.
that's one of the points, to make something that takes less table space, because Terraforming Mars takes a lot of table space, especially if you drag out the game and play 50 cards each. Okay.
Oh, all right. So I gotta ask, why make a dice version of Terraforming Mars? Just because you could, just because you wanted to make it more accessible. What like what encouraged you? What made you want to do this? You wake up one day and you're like, you know what we need? Dice. We need more dice in Terraforming Mars.
I think there are many different reasons. One of the main reasons that I said before is that we got this idea just put in our laps by Stephen Buonocore. He just said it in one time in Essen when we were in Essen Spiel. He said, why don't make a dice game version? And then one contributing factor that really, got us into this is that we had bought 3D printers, so we could actually make customized dice in a very simple way. So the 3D printers allowing us to do custom components very easily, that was a really, really great catalyst to making a dice game. And then, at least for me, and I made the first version, so I consider myself, even though we didn't actually continue with my version, we jumped over to my brother Daniel's version, which is what you see here. Um, I still think that I was very active in the start to get the ball running and start processing this thought. Um, and for me, I always like when you use components in a new way. You use dice. Everybody knows what a dice is,
Mm-hmm.
but when you use it in some new way, and making people think outside the box, and experience something new with similar components, I really like that idea, and that's driving me as a game designer as well.
You guys seem like a very talented family of designers because I love everything you put out, and the fact that Bonacore, um, the genius that he is, could just say, "Hey, make a dice game," and you guys like, "All right, done, challenge accepted. We'll make your dice game, and we're gonna knock it out of the park." Like the gall of that guy, Bonacore. If you're watching, you're taking advantage of these talented people.
Yeah.
But I like how you could just say it in passing. He just made it happen. He's like a genie for board games. Well, technically, you guys made it happen, but like he just drops it. That's
Yeah.
that's that's good. That's not everybody can do that. I can't just say, "Hey, how about we make a terraforming a Mars game revolving around pi?" And you guys go make a something with maybe an apple crumble type of related Mars game. But yeah, I'm and you guys. You said there's five of you. Five brothers?
Yeah, we're five,
Whew.
five brothers in the company. We're 10 brothers in the family.
Whoa, 10 brothers in the family.
Yeah.
Whew. That's
So I'm actually the 14th child in the family. We have 6 sisters also, so we're 16 siblings in the family, and I'm the 14th of the 16.
that
So
is
I'm almost the youngest one.
crazy. You guys have all the testers you want, all built in.
Yeah.
That's
you know,
fantastic.
we grew up and we had all these people playing board games with. Actually, we didn't get the TV until I was 7. So all my older brothers, they grew up and they played board games all the time.
That is fantastic. So, question: when Bonacore comes up to you and he's like, "Make a dice game," did you ever think of doing like a roll and write?
Well, he did drop that idea too into our laps.
So, can we expect that any moment now?
No, it's not like we're following every whim. I think, as I said, I think that the reason for us was almost also because we could use the 3D printers to make prototyping very fast. And I think the reason that we were not, attracted to a roll and write is partly because we never played roll and writes. I don't know if it's the Swedish culture, or that, we just never, we never enjoyed anything we played with roll and write. So I just think that we were uninterested in that concept. But I've heard both from Stephen Bonacore and also Travis now that runs Indie Boards and Cards and the joint merger between them. I think he also said that that roll and writes are very popular in the US, for example. So
I know
they
Bonacore's a huge fan.
yeah. Um, so well that I think that's why I don't I simply it's not our kind of mechanic to do a roll and write. We did plan it. I don't know. No, we didn't plan it, but we did discuss it a lot for a time.
I was excited to see it. Honestly, when I saw the dice game, I was like, "Do you guys make a roll and write?" And then I saw the game, I saw the video, what I saw online, and it wasn't a roll and write, but I completely forgot about the roll and write. I was excited as soon as I saw it because unlike
Yeah.
Bonacore, I do like roll and writes, but they are not my favorite. I much prefer a board with pieces, and I like just dices. I think it's the writing part stresses me out a bit because I always feel like I'm going to write something wrong, or I'm going to miss something, or I have to watch the sneaky people beside me. I don't know if I trust everybody writing on their own sheet all the time. If you've met
Yeah.
Brittany, that's my wife, she wins these things, and I don't know if she's doing it honestly. I don't know if I. I don't know if I can trust her. Okay, well, let's sign off with when can we expect? Because there's another Terraforming Mars project coming out, but this is going to be coming out after that. So when can we expect to see the dice game? Is there a timeline you guys are aiming for?
Well, there was a timeline, and we thought that we were, possibly going to release it last year.
Okay.
um, and a lot of the reason that we didn't was that we wanted to continue developing it. We wanted to have more beta testing. We wanted to polish it, and we also got some feedback that we thought was relevant and that we needed to correct. And as something you learn as a game designer, I think, is that you it's very easy to become blind to your own designs. And in our case, we found a few flaws, or not we, someone else found them, and we had to humble ourselves enough to say that okay, this is actually this is actually a problem, and we need to correct it. And I think we've done that. And now I think it's the problem now is the timing because we have this project, but we also have Stronghold Games is just announcing their uh, RS Expedition, which is a card game variant of Terraforming Mars, and that has similar target audience. So they have also an audience who wants the game to be quicker, smaller, faster. Yeah,
I
much of
don't.
what we've tried to make here.
I understand wanting everything to be quicker and faster, and but personally, I like taking it. Like when we play Terraforming Mars, we make a night of it, and we play it for like 3 hours because we're drinking, we're smart mouthing each other, we're just. Brittany's getting angry. So, and just so you know, I have an undefeated streak at Board Game Coffee playing Terraforming Mars. Now, I don't think it's because I'm that good. I think it's because they're that bad. So I'm kind of afraid to play with anybody else because then I'll just be humbled. And you know what's going to happen? It's either going to be the dice game or Ares Expedition. We're going to do a recorded playthrough, and that'll be the first game I lose. That's what's going to happen, and then I'll never hear the end of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, Murphy's Law, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Uh,
there's no time right now for the dice game. Like, do you think we'll see
well,
it in
I can say
2021?
that if it happens in 2021, then it's going to be this autumn.
Okay.
If it doesn't happen this autumn, it's going to be pushed into 2022.
Okay. So we're early. We're early. We could be very early. All right. Well, if you guys have too many prototypes hidden out back there in those shelves somewhere, and you need somewhere to put them, I'll give you my address, and you can. I'll play them for you until they come out, and I'll give you all my feedback. Except all my
That
feedback will
sounds
be
great.
drunken rants of how I beat Brittany and Chris. Nothing useful. It'll be nothing useful.
Actually, I think that what you told me about, having a whole night of gaming, that sounds just like my oldest brother. My oldest brother Peter, he always says that when we're streamlining our games, he's playing the prototypes with us and he loves them. And he says when we streamline the games to fit the mass market, he always loses interest in them. So it's like, uh, the games are really complex and really long. Takes
Yeah.
7 hours to play, and he loves it. And when we streamline them with Terraforming Mars, for example, until it only takes 2 hours to play or 3 hours,
Yeah.
um, he doesn't like them anymore.
Oh, I love it, man. I love digging in. If I could put in a request, Bonacor requested a dice game. I'm requesting a legacy game. I don't even know how you would do it, but I want to sit in for the long haul. I want to like I don't know what you would do, but like I'm assuming some colonists would get locked outside a bubble and die. But it happens. It happens. Their
Yeah.
sacrifices have to be made for the greater good of mankind, and that's what we got to do.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of rumors of a legacy game on Board Game Geek, and it's always interesting to see how people, reason about it, because they always give their defenses. You could do like this, 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 and all these requests. I've never had this many requests to the customer service email account. I mean, people are sending in requests and suggestions on how we're going to make the game better, or how we're going to make new games or new projects, and people are making their fan-based expansion, fan expansions. We have hundreds of ideas, and it's a really hard work just trying to pick the best ones.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, I trust that you guys are going to make the right decision because, again, I love Terraforming Mars. We could play it all the time, and all this talk about the dice game and setting up this interview. Brittany's like, "Oh, let's play. Let's get it out. Let's get it out. Let's play." The only reason we haven't is because we've decided we're not going to play Terraforming Mars until we get those 3D pieces from the big box. We want to play with those because we think they look so cool. We
Yeah.
played so many with the flat tiles. It's like I want to try it out, and I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna wait. And you know what? We've played so many games where I've won. It stresses me out to play now because I was like, this is gonna be the one I lose, and I've been such a hothead. Every time I've won to rub it in, I know I got it coming back to me. This is like karma. It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back hard. All right. Well,
Yeah.
any last words before we sign off?
Thank you for having me. It was really interesting to having these interviews. I really like talking about these things, and I hope you get a lot of viewers and that they are also excited about this project.
Well, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to share this. Well, thank you, Jonathan, for joining us. I hope you guys out there enjoyed this very, very informative look into Terraforming Mars dice game. And let's get one last look at that box on our way out. There it is. Will that be the final? Who knows? Jonathan might know, but it's a year. Maybe he doesn't know. But that said, we'll see you guys next week on Board Game Coffee. See ya. Thanks for joining us. If you like this video and you want to see more, subscribe to our channel. It's the best way to keep up to date with everything we do here at Board Game Coffee. But if you want to see more right now, we got plenty of videos to choose from. And if that's not enough, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Mark Maia, and this is Board Game Coffee. And remember, have fun, keep gaming, be social. See you next week.